Namaste. My name is Kirti, and on behalf of Himalayan Yoga Association, I welcome you all to this online teacher training course. I am a teacher here at Himalayan Yoga Association, and I will be taking you through the concepts and details of the human body and yoga altogether. Let's hope you enjoy this course. Let's start.
Namaste and welcome back to the online yoga teacher training course. Namaste and welcome back to the online yoga teacher training course. In the previous session, I introduced you to the human skeletal system. In today's session, we will go in further details about the bone anatomy and structure. Yes, take it.
5, 6, 7, go.
Namaste and welcome back to the online yoga teacher training course. In the previous session, I introduced you to the human skeletal system. In this session, I will take you through further details about the human skeletal system, like the bone structure and the anatomy, which makes it so productive inside the human body. But before that, I request you all to come sit in attention as we chant the Gayatri Mantra together. Adopt the meditative posture and fix your gaze towards your third eye or towards the tip of your nose as you have your eyes closed. You have nothing else to do but observe your breath, observe your inhalations and your exhalations. Slow, steady, comfortable breathing. If you have any thoughts popping up in your head, simply bring your attention back to your breath and observe those thoughts moving away in an instant. Now with me, you can slowly bring your hands in front of your chest, Namaskara Sthiti, and we'll begin with the Gayatri Mantra right away. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Having absorbed the vibration of the Gayatri Mantra, let's generate some energy between our hands. Start rubbing your palms gently and transfer this energy to your eyes first. Let it enter your body through your eyes, and then you can massage your face, the back of your neck, any other joints, any other part of your body where you wish to transfer this energy to. Once again, fold your palms, bow down to your fingertips, and with a few blinks, open your eyes. Welcome back. So, I introduced you to the human skeletal system in the previous session. I explained to you the different functions that the skeletal system plays in your life, everyday life. In today, let's go in further depth about understanding the different bones, the skeletal system inside the human body. Now, yesterday in the previous session, I told you that the human body, when human beings are born, newly born children, they do not have any bones inside the human body. Inside their womb itself, the structure is maintained with the help of cartilage, which is present in place of the bones. Over time, this whole transformation, this whole conversion from cartilage to bone happens over a span of about 20 years from the beginning of the birth, as soon as the baby is out of the mother's womb, and this whole process of the development of the adult skeletal system takes place until the age of 20. During that whole process, there is a lot of grinding, a lot of repair, a lot of reshaping, resculpting taking place inside the human body itself. This whole process of conversion of cartilage to bones is called as ossification, and the process of ossification takes place for 20 years at least throughout the human body, not just in one place. Of course, the bones are very intelligent as structures in themselves. They are mostly water, and they also have the property of being able to repair themselves just in case if we come across any damages, just in case if we come across any fractures or dislocations. The skeletal system in itself, just if you were to replace the entire skeletal system in the human body with the lightest metal, which is aluminium at the moment, then that human being, just with the weight of the skeletal system, the aluminium skeletal system, will weigh at least 800 kilograms as compared to the light weight of the bones, and on top of that, the aluminium skeletal system would still not provide the functionality that the bones provide inside the human body. The skeletal system is able to repair itself. The skeletal system is able to reshape itself. The skeletal system is able to regulate the flow of chemicals and minerals inside the human body. There are endless features, endless functions of the skeletal system which is irreplaceable, and as human beings we should take very good care of our skeletal system, because like I told you, it creates the structure and the framework of the human being as it is. Now, there are three different types of bones inside the human body. As you can see, the first type is flat bones, the second type is short bones, and the last type is long bones. The flat bones are only present in a few locations inside the human body. These bones are basically flattish bones. When I say flat bones, then it does not mean like completely straight like a flat screen bone, but rather very thin in nature, and they only provide the function of protecting the organs inside, protecting the complex structure of delicate organs inside the human body. For example, as you can see right here, the small bones of the cranium skull, they're all fused together to provide protection to the head. Another location for the flat bone is the patella bone on the knee, the place where the femur and the tibia bone meet. There is a very small thin plate of bone right on your knee. You can feel it as well. Spread your legs like this in the front, and while relaxing your legs, you can hold with your hand, you can hold this bone right here and see that it's slowly moving in all directions while not losing the space that it has to. This thin plate of bone is also an example of the flat bone. Again, the only purpose that this organ in the human body is protection, nothing else. The second type of bone which is present in abundance inside the human body is the short bones. Now, the short bones, of course, they provide the structure, the function of protection to different parts, while they may not be protecting any direct organs inside the human body. But without these short bones, the human skeletal system would not be as stable as it is right now. You can also say that it is because of these short bones that we are able to absorb a lot of shocks inside the human body. A very good example of the short bone is the cancellous bone in your heel. This is a single cube of bone. Basically, the difference between a flat bone and a short bone is that the short bones, they are not long in size, but they are cubical in nature. Now, not exactly cubical in a square shape format, but a very thick, dense structure which is filled completely inside without having any scope for any accidents or damage. You would need to go through a lot of damage, a very intense accident to be able to damage the short bones inside the human body, because first of all they are small in size, secondly they are there to provide stability and structure and absorb most of the damage inside the human body. The third type of bone present inside the human beings is called as the long bones. Now, these long bones are where all the magic in the human beings in the skeletal system happens. These long bones are present in various locations inside the human body. You can take the example of the humerus bone starting from the shoulder till the elbow, or you can take the example of the tibia bone right here as it is, starting from the knee, ending at the ankle of the legs. Another example of the long bone would be the very long femur bone, which is also the longest bone inside the human body, which begins at the hip joint and ends at the knee joint as it is. Now, what's so special and what's so different about these three bones? Flat bones, short bones and long bones. As I told you yesterday in the previous session, that the bones, they are also capable of absorbing and releasing minerals inside the human body. All of this main feature of the human body takes place inside the long bones. These long bones, of course, they have the protective structure of the flat bones. They have the stabilizing, shock absorbing structure of the short bones, as well as they have a very thin cavity in the hollow part of the bone in the center, which has different marrows, the yellow marrow specifically, as well as the red marrow being there for the production of the blood cells, as well as for the regulation of the different minerals inside the human body. This is different types of bones. Now let's get inside the structure and how it is from inside the long bones, how come they are able to do so many things inside the human body. If you pay your attention to the long bone structure right here, you'll see that there is a very zigzag, unstructured format on either ends of this long bone. This is the hardest structure, this is the hardest part of the long bone. This is like a tunnel-like, there is no shape, there is no structure, but a lot of openings and closings, a lot of things happening inside of it, the only purpose of which is to be able to protect itself from any damage, just in case the body undergoes any shocks in that specific location. That is true that whenever you are jumping, of course, there are a lot of cartilage structures, there is a lot of ligaments which protect these and stabilize these joints, but the protection and the stabilization of the bone specifically happens because of the spongy structure of the bone which is present on either sides. The entire bone from the outside is covered with a compact part of the bone, which is the hardest part of the bone. It is what they say that an elephant's tusks are also the hardest part of an elephant's body, and they are made up of ivory. This compact structure is made up of the same structure that the elephant's tusk is made up of, and you can imagine the kind of protection it must be offering to these bones. On the inside, you will see that there is a very hollow cavity. This hollow cavity is carrying a lot of nerves inside of it, the purpose of which is to stay connected to the human body, the purpose of which is to absorb any sensations and give instructions, intelligent instructions of the skeletal system that take place inside. These nerves connect the bones, which more or less stay alive even after a human's death, connect them to the human brain. These nerves are what give these bones the instructions of absorption and release of various minerals inside the human body. Also in red, as you can see right here, every long bone in the human body has yellow marrow. This yellow marrow is present at a certain age. As whenever we are born, newly born adults, over time as we age, the proposition or the composition of this yellow marrow increases in structure, in shape. It's a very gel-like structure which does not really have any form or shape, but it is still harder than water, softer than the bone itself, which needs to be protected, and it is very well protected inside the hollow cavity of this bone. This yellow marrow is where all the absorption of the minerals in the form of calcium, in the form of phosphorus, and as well as the absorption of fat inside the human body happens. Now remember, You do not need to tell your skeletal system to absorb any of these chemicals, they happen on their own, as well as the release of these chemicals and minerals inside the human body happens because of the yellow marrow itself. Very smart structure, very purposeful, and if you are aware, I'm pretty sure in many cultures there is a theme about eating this specific bone marrow, which also converts into the most nutritious part of the human body. So apart from that, there is one last detail that you need to pay attention to. In the sponge-like structure in either ends of this bone, there is a lot of red dotting. This red dotting is nothing but the red bone marrow which is present on either sides of these bones. This red bone marrow is responsible for the production and release of the various blood cells in the form of red blood cells, white blood cells, as well as platelets inside the human body happens. This spongy structure and the red bone marrow is present in case of the short bones as well, but the short bones do not have the property of the yellow bone marrow just because they do not have the hollow cavity inside. Whereas the flat bones, they do not have the spongy structure, they do not have the hollow cavity, they do not have the property of generation of blood cells specifically, and probably that is the reason why flat bones are not present throughout the human body, because they do not solve the entire purpose as it is. This is all you need to know about the bone anatomy and the structure, and I hope you found today's session very informative. In the next session, we are going to figure out further details about the human skeletal system. Until then, thank you and Namaste.